Hello. Hi. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. Hi. Hello. Okay. Hmm. Well, we're getting started, you guys. Lower the mic just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay, so hey, everybody. Welcome back. I had a good sleep, but I want to try to get to bed early tonight. But can't go to bed right away. It's only 9 p.m. Go a couple hours. Get that grind in. I have a lot of grinding to do on Dota. It's like a lot. Olivia needs to show her face. Hey, Olivia. How are you? There she is. Okay. Oh, welcome back. Just trying to get through each day right now. Sometimes it's really hard to keep, high energy. I've obviously tried to keep the volume listenable. That's not a problem, but personally, there's a difference between I have like energetic talking and like low energy talking, and like it's I don't think it's a big deal per se, but like it's just it is an issue sometimes. Let's see. Mm, okay. Let's go. So out of it lately. It's so frustrating. And like you want to have like I don't know. It's just very hard to find like it's very hard to find meaningful activities right now. Like, there's just so much crap going on right now. It's like there's so much turmoil. There's so much hatred. There's so much stupidity. There's so much ignorance, because sometimes ignorance is worse than hatred. Like when somebody doesn't know that what they're doing is harmful. And what's frustrating is if you get mad about it, then they feel justified that you're crazy, that you're unjustifiably angry, but the reality is that, like, I'm angry because it hurts me, not because you did something wrong. But you did do something wrong. And it's just, oh, Dota 2 is updating. 30 seconds. I don't know what they updated. Must be a small update. It's okay. It's not too long of a wait. We have literally one thing that we're working on right now. We're focusing 100% on last hit. And that's, I feel like in the long run, that's going to give me the best advantage in the game. Because if I can join a match and constantly always be able to be in control of last hits and denies, I feel like all that will really pay off. Because if my opponents consistently fail to get last hits, but I consistently get last hits, I can help my team out. And if I can play at silver or gold level, I can get pretty fast out of the bronze. Which means, like, if I train long enough in last hit and against bots, when I start doing public matches, I should probably just do mid. That'll probably be the most beneficial to my team, because if I go safe lane, if I go safe or off lane, I would probably be taking all the gold compared to my allies. And I think the best for the team, if I am skilled better at getting last hit, the best thing I could do would be to do mid. Now, if I was bad at it, like I am now, the worst thing I could do is mid. So, because I wouldn't get as much gold as I could. So that's kind of my plan, is once I get to like gold consistently on last hit, or at least silver consistently, then, and also, like, you know, practice in bot matches. I don't know, I feel like if I can get to like gold or diamond on last hit, I could get to gold or diamond relatively quickly. That's my theory. But we don't know how long it's going to take for me to get to that level of last hittery. So, whatever. It's not a big deal. I like the grind. I just need to still remember to work on my chess. That's the biggest thing. It's like, I don't want to be doing Dota in place of chess. That's the number one. But it's a nice repetitive thing to grind that I can focus on, because it's not just repetitive, it's focus. So it's like, it's repetitive focus, if that makes any sense. I don't know if that's an oxymoron or not. And again, my webcam going out. Yeah, it's frustrating when that happens. It takes a while to load at the start. I've read that that's a common issue, and that's not just unique to me. Yeah. So chill stream tonight. Just trying to get like a really calm, relaxed feel, so I'm not constantly feeling flustered while playing. That's the biggest thing. Because I need to be able to be calm while playing. Because when you're calm, you can react with focus and clarity, and you won't make like bad decisions. And also, like, it's like ironic, like people think that if you like bear down on something, that if you like bite down and like people, it's like the first instinct is that that makes you better, but it actually makes you worse. So the best thing you can do, ironically, is to remain calm, breathe, just like, because then you can put 100% of your focus into the task. Like, that's the biggest thing. And my webcam froze again. Is it because of the game? I honestly, like, don't know what's up with my webcam. Okay. Now back to the grind. Here we go. Ooh, item changes and stuff. 100 gold recipe. Any changes to Wind Ranger? But there's a lot of changes. Oh, Fireball for Dragon Knight costs less. Oh, Monkey King has some. There's a lot of changes. I'm sure, like the more competitive players are going over this in a lot more detail than I am. I'm such a beginner that I don't think it's worth my time to look at all these minutiae. I mean, there's no changes to Wind Ranger. Did I get that right? Draw Ranger has a change. Oh, nice. Frost Arrow Shard also adds 5 damage per tag. Yeah, it looks like there was a big balance update. Well, Wind Ranger must be perfect. Yeah. So some item changes, hero changes. Overall, looks like it's just a balance update. Must be pretty normal though. Okay, back to the old last hit trainer. I'm gonna be here for a while, guys. Guys and dolls. NBs and other kin. You know what's kind of funny is like this is a bit of a serious, not as like, you know, it's like sometimes like it's people have this like tendency to blame like us like gender diverse people to always be outraged, but I don't think that's what it is. It's like I'm just so used to things being problematic that I can see things differently than a lot of people do. But like I think, you know, what's funny is like when you say things like including gender diverse language, like instead of saying guys all the time, like you can say like friends or fam or whatever. But even when you say like guys and gals, like it's just like it's funny how offended that guys get when you start to include other people. And you know, this goes with racism as well, but like it's just kind of funny how like you say guys and gals, well guys still comes first and yet guys tend to be upset that there's inclusivity in the language. Oh, there we go. Restart it. It must have been glitched from last time. Who knows? No. Too late. No, too early. Too late. No. No. There we go. And it's also just frustrating when people get outraged. I'm not talking about anyone specifically. It's just when people do kind of upset me, it reminds me of all the previous times that people have upset me, and there's an overall arching issue. But like when people get upset that you're outraged, it's like obviously the problem is that they're making it about themselves, and like they're also, you know, when they say, oh, well, you know, if you want people to take you seriously, you have to be less outraged because they won't take you seriously. And it's like, why do I have to change my behavior because of somebody else doing something wrong is the problem. And also, why is change dependent on my reaction is the problem. Shouldn't change happen because it's the right thing to do? And not because like, oh, well, you reacted in the way that feels more comfortable to me, and so I'm gonna take you seriously because I respect the way you responded. And it's like, isn't something wrong whether you think it's wrong or not? And isn't something right whether you think it is or not? Like, you would think that. And it's just sad when people, you know, I don't know. I don't like calling people out all the time, especially when they're not present, but it's like, there was an incident that happened today, and somebody I really enjoyed, and I was, you know, it's not their fault, it's more their community. And, you know, I was feeling really uncomfortable in their Discord, the way people were talking to me specifically, but also talking to each other. But you know, I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, and I try to have like a sense of humor. There's a point where it's like, is it really humor if like I'm constantly feeling uncomfortable, unsafe, like making sexist jokes, making transphobic jokes, homophobic jokes, racist jokes maybe? Like I shouldn't be forced to be in a hostile environment that just feels uncomfortable, you know? Like, I mean, the same is true in the workplace. Like, you know, you're supposed to go to work, you don't want to feel like the people you work with are able to just get away with saying like really insensitive things all the time, saying sexist things, making you feel uncomfortable, sometimes even sexually harassed. So that's what we have rules in place for that. And I feel like there's some unspoken rules in all social situations that, like, we just don't let certain things slide. But it just sucks when it's like you like somebody. It doesn't make them a bad person, but if it happens enough time, it kind of does. And like I said, this person, at this point, I don't know. Like, I don't know if this person is somebody I can associate with. Because this is not the first time it's happened, and I like this person's personality, but when it comes to this, like, I don't have any patience. I mean, actually, I do have a lot of patience, because I've been giving this person the benefit of the doubt for a while. And I know it's unfair of me, but the thing is like, how come I'm the one who feels guilty in this situation? And that's messed up. That somebody made me feel uncomfortable and unsafe, and yet I feel like I'm the bad guy, ironically. It's like gendered language is a thing. It's like we say bad guy, even when we mean people who aren't guys. Like, it's weird. No, come on, let me get the last hit. Yeah, and yeah, like, yeah, I go on about things longer than most people might, but it's because it's a serious issue for me. You know, it's not just like one event, it's multiple events in multiple communities. Like, it's not just one community. It's not necessarily their fault, even though it's their fault. And that's the problem that I feel needs to be addressed most. Because if I just storm out every single time and don't like explain to people that there's a bigger issue, they just think there's a problem with me. And yeah, like, maybe I'm getting a bit too upset, but I don't think I am. Actually, I think I should get more upset, because this is how things happen, is people perpetuate. This is how racism happens, is people like just let it slide. They're like, oh, well, that's acceptable behavior, but it's not acceptable behavior. If somebody is like punching you in the face, you can't see like, oh, well, you know, there's good people on both sides. Like, no. One person is getting punched, the other person's doing the punching. There's a clear, like, bad side. You can't just like take both sides. I mean, maybe it gets a little complicated, because maybe there might be a reason why the person's punching. Like, maybe they did something even worse, so that might be but that's not what I'm talking about. Like, if somebody punched somebody because it's the only way they can get out of the situation is try to protect themselves, that's different. That's self-defense. And it's just funny when people try to use those situations like they're a catch-all, like there's no context, because context matters. I mean, if you do something in one situation, it might be terrible, might be perfectly reasonable in another situation. But people don't like to hear that on the internet. They're just like, oh, this is what this means, and it means it in all situations, and there's never a situation where it's not. Like, if you're upset about it, you're unreasonable. You're just a PC baby. And it's like, dude, like, there's a reason why I'm upset, and why so many people are upset. It's not just me being unreasonable. I'd like to think that, like, you know, I'm not very unreasonable. Like, I try to have patience. I try to, you know, let things slide, but there's certain things I just can't. Because, like I said, if you let it slide, it'll keep happening. And you have to nip it in the bud. I think, even though it hurts because people end up hating you. And it sucks, because I wish that wasn't the case. I wish people would, when you give people criticism, instead of getting defensive, they think about why you're upset. Like, I'm not saying like normal criticism. I'm talking like criticism because you said something that was harmful. Anyway, I'm ranting on about this person. I'm not going to name names, So I don't think this person deserves that. And I think this person is genuinely a good person at heart. It doesn't seem like they want to be a bad person. Like they're not doing it on purpose. And it's coming from a place of ignorance rather than hate. Which is different. I can tell the difference because I experience both. So it's like, I wish people would trust me that, you know, me, a literal trans person, knows more about transphobic behavior than a cisgender person who doesn't experience it at all. And yeah, maybe there's cisgender people who have many family members or, you know, who have a lot more experience with it than I do, because maybe they have, you know, more friends who are trans and have been in the community longer than I have. So that's possible too. There might be cisgender people who are more aware of the situation than I am. Most of the time that's not the case. Like most of the time, if a trans person says something is transphobic, it means that it's transphobic. And yeah, like sometimes I understand what it means to be upset and angry, and sometimes you might respond very like volatilely, because it's like when somebody's punching you in the face, how are you supposed to respond? Yeah. And it's not necessarily, and the thing is like, it's because of the stuff that's had, you know, it's because it like it accumulates over time. Like when so many people do the same thing, and it's especially if it's a small thing. If it's like a really subtle thing, then it's like people who don't see the overall picture, who don't see the hundreds of times that it's happened, they think you're being unreasonable when it happens because they don't see the whole picture. They don't see like every single day I experience that same thing, but they only see it that one time. And so when it happens to them, they're like, oh, why are you being so angry? It wasn't very transphobic. I was just making a joke. You know, that's what people say because they're like, in their minds, it's not a big deal, but it is. And the reason why I get to say that it is because I literally have to live with it. And I see the overarching pattern. And I know, and also, like, I am literally hurt by it. Like, I get to say, nobody else gets to say whether or not I'm negatively affected by something. Like they're like, oh, you know, you're just overreacting. It's gaslighting. And it's terrible because with transphobia, there's so much misinformation about us spread across a very long time. You know, the thing is it's sad because the same is true about racism, even though racism is much more prevalent. Because there's a lot of people who face racism, like a lot more compared to those of us who face transphobia. That's just a fact of numbers, like. But still, people don't understand racism. They think racism is just saying the N-word. They don't think racism is a systemic problem that is perpetuated mostly by the small stuff because of what I mentioned. Because people think that it's acceptable. They're not reprimanded or punished for the small things because they're like, oh, well, I don't do the big things, so that means there's not a problem. And then it adds up over decades, years, generations upon generations of people. And yeah, it's gotten better. Like, we literally don't have slavery anymore. I'm doing the thing again where I keep saying literally. Was doing that last stream. Anyway, I thought I would get that off my chest. It's really bothered me because I was in this person's stream and I was really enjoying it. And this is the second time that it happened. I was really enjoying the vibe. And somebody said one thing and it completely destroyed my enjoy. Like, I just started to feel uncomfortable and unsafe. And then when I mentioned it, the streamer was like, oh, they're not really being transphobic. I know that person. It's like, yeah, like you can know somebody doesn't mean that you can just excuse their behavior. Like, and it's actually more important that their friends call them out on their behavior. It's more important than me, even. Because obviously, it's sad that that's the reality. That people, instead of listening to the people who are hurt, they listen to the people that they're more used to. That they're like, oh, well, that's my friend, I'm gonna trust them. Instead of like just saying, hey, like something bad happened, I should probably take responsibility for it. And it sucks that that's the reality. Just like how we said, like, it sucks how like people are like, people's acceptance of what you say is dependent on how you say it. Is so fucked up. That if you're like, quote unquote, acting crazy or whatever, like if you're screaming because you're upset or whatever, people are less likely to listen to you. That's fucked up how that works. Because when you're screaming, that's when people should literally listen to you the most. I said literally again to you. Because obviously you wouldn't be screaming if things were okay. But for some reason people are like, oh, well, this person is screaming. I'm not going to listen to a screaming person. It's so fucked up how that psychology works. Like, it's the time you need somebody the most. And then they just say like, oh, well, you know, I'm not going to participate in this because you're yelling. I don't like the way you responded, so I'm just going to ignore it. And wait until you respond correctly, whatever correctly means. Yeah, a lot of this is just, you know, stuff based on my own experience. It's not based on what actually happened. The thing that actually happened, you know, it was just one thing, and I'm still, you know, it just happened tonight, so it's like, I still don't know how it's gonna play out. And most likely it should be fine. It's just I'm not gonna go to their stream anymore or their Discord. I already stopped going to their Discord, so it's like, you know, fool me once. And like I said, I don't want to throw this person on the bus. And it's not the same kind of discrimination. Like, it would be one thing if it was like just outright transphobia. Like somebody was just like, hey, like, you're an abomination and all that kind of stuff. I would have just not even engaged. But it's because these are people who are somewhat reasonable people who want to be allies. But like, you know, wanting to be an ally and then at every step of the way refusing to listen to a trans person and my grievances, there starts to become a pattern that I am not going to enable. It's not up to me to hold their hand while they figure it out. Because I have my own mental health that I need to deal with. Anyways, it's just, you know, streamer drama. I really wish this, I really hope that, I really wish it didn't happen, but it does. And I also wish that this can resolve for the better without anybody being like, I don't want to just permanently ignore this person. That's not what I want, and I don't think that's what this person wants. I think this person genuinely wants to be a good ally. Genuinely. And like, and you know, that's why it's like, you know, I have to do my part to try to allow them the chance to prove me wrong. Because if I just get mad and leave, well, then nothing's changed. But there's a point where it's like I can't put up with it anymore. So I don't know. I don't think I've reached that point, but I've reached the point of I need to give them the time. I need to give this person the time. Because it's not going to be fixed overnight. This is a problem where it takes some reflection, and that takes time and effort, and this might be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Whether it's like, hey, like, this isn't the first time that's happened, and maybe it's maybe I'm the first person that brought this to their attention. So maybe it's not going to get fixed with me. Maybe it's going to take even longer. Maybe it's like more people who are trans are going to experience the same discomfort, and they're going to start seeing the pattern and say like, wait a minute, this is exactly the same as when Rebecca came here, and I'm reacting the same way. Maybe I should react differently. Hopefully it doesn't have to get to that, because I would like to think that people are capable of being reasonable, compassionate people. I keep missing that. Okay, let's do this again, where I just practice the same spot for a bit. Oh. No. I need to factor in the ranged. The time it takes depending on distance. No, almost. No. Nice. Just thought I would get that off my chest, because that was the biggest thing that bothered me today. You know, besides the normal outrage based on what's happening in the country, like, in general, like, that's still going on. Like, you know, that's a overarching problem that I alone can't solve. But I can at least stand up for myself in my world. Okay, I got 400 from that round. That's 50 more than I got last time. Like, from this morning. As a personal best for this round. No! No. $300. It sounds like Katy Perry. Same pattern. No. I don't know if it's possible for me to get the deny and the last hit. I've done it before, but to be able to do it consistently on multiple RNGs? No. Hey, 400 again. It's good. No, 200. Oops. Okay. Cool thing is I can always just reset. This is probably the most efficient way to do this. And so I can get really consistent and then try to do whole rounds. Because it's different situations, different terrain. And then there's the situation where I'm doing denies that are at a tower. That's important. And then at the end, doing last hits that are at my tower, because that's important. Oh. Oh. There, 450. I think a personal best for this group. No. No. $350. Missed the deny. No, missed the last hit. Nice. 400. So I could be auto-attacking the ranged until it's like getting to the point where I need to time it. Oh! See, I stopped my hit, but then I didn't time it right. So I could be auto-attacking at the very start of their health bars. Ooh, I actually recognized the ranged at that time. Nice. Yeah, if I kill the range first, it's easier to see the consistency. Oh. Okay, I got 350 that round. Nope. Nope. Too soon. Oh. Yeah, just need to get that timing. Nice, I got both. And then get the ranged next. Missed one. Okay. 400. Could have got 500 if I got that one enemy creep. No. Yeah. As a ranged hero, I should be able to go for the ranged creep first, because the ranged and melee creeps are going to be dealing with the melee creeps first, and so the ranged creep, the ranged enemy creep, is not going to be hit by anybody except me, and so I can get a free last hit on that from auto attack. Guaranteed. As long as I don't miss out on other last hits, that can be very beneficial. Just get some DOT on that. Nice. I should be able to get 400 very consistently on each group. That should be a good goal. I should be able to get like 10 out of 10. Should get 400 points. Not this round. Nope. Nope. Was not feeling that round. Okay, get 3 shots. Okay, I should be able to get at least 3 shots before I can do the last hits on the melee. Nope. Too late. I waited too long. Okay. 4 shots. That was cutting it close. So I should just at least, even if I get 3 shots off and it looks like I'm gonna get the 4th, I should still stop. Stop hold. And just wait for the last hit. Nope. I need to look at who my ranged creep is hitting. Because if they're hitting the one that their ranged creep is hitting, I have to be able to fire off a hit extra early. Okay. And then get that deny. Okay, 450. That one was kind of a bonus. So that was definitely a 400. Nice, and I got the deny. And then after that first last hit and deny is done, I could be able to I should be able to finish off the ranged. And then just not auto attack the last one. $450. Oh, too soon. No, this is why I don't do the auto attack when it's that low. That deny seems to be like a bonus, like it's kind of a coin toss whether or not I get that first deny. Bam. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, I don't want to time that too late.
Easy breezy.
Easy breezy. No. $350. $350 or $400 seems like a reasonable thing I can pull off. No. I need to stop going for the deny first. Unless I'm trying to deny experience. It depends on the situation. Because if I need to get deny experience more than I need to get gold at in the situation, then that would be better. That's a hard thing to make a split decision on, but it's there. Something to think about. Nope. 300. No. Oops. Yeah, it's like I can kind of see, like, if I let too many range shots go off on the timing on that creep. Then I missed the last hit. No. Oh. Oof. I'm gonna take a little bit of a stretch break, get some water. Yeah, I'm gonna have some sausage and toast for dinner. Really kind of like just trying to take it easy tonight. It's just like, let's just play some Dota and just eat. Nice. Getting the deny for the win. No, I didn't get lasted on that. No. That didn't work out. That's not good. No. Nice. Yeah, that felt good. No, I could have gotten like a lot of points that round. Okay, I'm starting to get the pattern down a little bit. Oh, now I misclicked. Jeez. I don't want misclicks deciding things. And you definitely do not want Mizkif deciding things. Poor Mizkif. People always making fun of him. I don't think he deserves it. The timing on that one's weird. Okay, that one, I don't want to rely on auto attack to get the last hit. That's a problem. That's too unreliable. Oops. Yeah, things were wonky that time. Just systematically work through this. Get that first round of the first round. We're getting so like laser focused here. Let's just practice that first last hit. And then we'll get 2, and then we'll get 3. And the denies I'm gonna count as bonus for now. Like, my priority right now is to get that first last hit. And if I can do that like 10 times in a row perfectly, then I'll try to get the 2 last hits. Well, technically 3, because the second one is just killing the ranged creep. And that's auto attack, because nobody else is attacking it. Yeah, I have to do it like in between the enemy ranged shot. I mean, my creep's ranged. Okay, that's a bonus. Okay. There. Yeah, I should be able to get 400 at least every single time. Oh, I thought I was gonna hyper focus on just the first one. No, I can't let that last hit go off. Or it kills it. Ah, what's happening? There's some lag for a second. Windows Update has been a little bit weird, so I'm hoping it wasn't Windows Update doing something stupid. Calling an inanimate, non-thinking, non-sentient object stupid. Welcome to computer science. There, I'm starting to get that consistently. I should be able to do it every single time without fail. Oh. Huh? No. Nope, too late. No. Yeah, looking at the percentage of health bars, like sometimes I just don't have it yet. Like seeing the rate of decay. Okay, so if I let it hit it, the one going down the fastest is the one the ranged is hitting, because the ranged has the most damage out of the creep. And so it's consistent because the other creep are dealing with the other creep. So it's like there's only one creep fighting the one that there's only one creep that there's two creeps attacking it. Is the ranged and whatever the ranged and one of the creep is fighting. And so it's going to be consistent every single time. Unless there's another hero involved. But that's something to work out separately. Oops. Like right now I'm hyper-focused on just this very specific scenario, which should be very helpful for most other scenarios, honestly. Okay, now I accidentally fired off something. There we go. So I need to master that whatever creep is being attacked by 2 creeps. By a melee and a ranged creep. Because that's going to be a very specific rate of decay. Compared to just a one-on-one creep. Nope. Don't worry, I got the sausage on a match flame. No, that one was weird. Yeah, there's some RNG involved, but I need to be able to assess the situation and see what the rate of decay is, no matter what the RNG. Based on terrain and just general timing. What? Who's there? Hey, I'm back. I might be lurking. How it happens, Prepper Perman? Yeah, sorry I had to go for a second. Yeah, I'm just grinding out really repetitive stuff and just chatting about whatever. You know, that's usually how my stream goes. But like one of my friendly neighbors drops by food from the food bank every week, so it's like you know, good to hear from her. I'm trying to learn the patterns, and right now I'm hyper focused on just getting I can get 3 attacks at least on the ranged creep, and then I can time the first last hit on the creep that's being attacked by both a ranged and a melee creep, and that's the first kill of a group. At least in this situation, on this terrain. I might be lurking. Lurking's good. You know, lurkers are actually the lifeblood of Twitch. Some people, you know, it's like you just watch Twitch in the background while you're doing something else, while you're making dinner, while you're cooking, you know. Sometimes it's like you really want to focus and like interact with chat, or you know, interact with the streamer, but you know, sometimes it's perfectly reasonable. Okay, and then I can auto attack the ranged after that to get the last hit solo on that, and then I can get, oh, I timed it wrong. Then I can get the last hit on the second one, because the one that's being attacked by a melee and a ranged is gonna is gonna decay. Its health is going to decay at a specific rate compared to a one-on-one, compared to a 1v1 melee creep, and potentially there, you know, obviously the last one is going to be attacked by 2 melee Possibly, depending on RNG, like depending on RNG over what happens when, like if one or two of my creeps die instead of just one. While I'm playing Sims on the PC, alone could be a dark place. Yeah, exactly. You know, never feel like you have to apologize for that. That's one thing in life that's like, you know, other people, you know, there are people out there who will criticize you for doing certain things, but it's like, dude, like, yeah, you know, it's one thing if like you tell people that you want people to like get you out of your comfort zone, but like it's another thing where it's like it's unsolicited, you know, like if people are like, hey, you need to get out of the house more, and they pressure you and like shame you, and it's like, you know, I didn't ask for that, you know, it's my mental health, it's my life, I have a very specific thing. Oh, oops. My camera went off again. You didn't tell me. My camera went off. It keeps happening. I don't know why it's happening. There's something wrong with the wire, I think. It's... I really don't want to have to replace my webcam. It's only like 40 bucks to get like a decent one, but I really don't want to have to replace it. So depending on RNG, there might be only 2 melee fighting one on the second. Like, okay, so let's pause here. So every like wave of creep, there's a ranged and there's 3 melee. And so based on this RNG with this terrain, with this direction, we get 2 side melee 1v1ing against my side melee. In this case, there's some RNG where 2 of my side melee are ganging up on this one. Sometimes it's one in the, most of the time, the one on the left is fighting the one on the left, the one in the middle is fighting the one in the middle, and the one on the right is fighting the one on the right. But in this RNG, the closest one ended up being this one on the right. And so now I have 3 melee and a ranged attacking 1. And I have 2 melee and a ranged attacking 1. So that's a weird... Only $40 is fine when you get 40 spare bucks. Yeah, I mean, well, you know, there was... I've been kind of rolling in money recently. I mean, for me, it's rolling in money. Like, because of the stimulus check. Like I got an extra $600, like, so I've been kind of splurging. I was ordering DoorDash, so it's like I've been spending, like, I stopped it, you know. I ordering DoorDash is like so much money for one meal. It's like so much. So right now I'm making some sausage really slowly on the stove with like a match flame and a cast iron skillet covered. And I think I should have flattened the patty a little bit because it's just like cut it out and it's like kind of thick, but it's on a match flame, so it should cook evenly. And then within the food that my friend brought, my neighbor, one of my neighbors brought from the food bank, is a can of raviolis. So I think for dinner I'm gonna have sausage and ravioli. After the sausage is fully cooked, I'm gonna pour some ravioli in there to heat it all up and wait till it heats up, and then I'm gonna chow down. So this is kind of an interesting situation because this is a completely different rate of decay that I need to know, because this is 3 melee and 1 ranged on 1 melee, which has a very specific defense you know, this is level 1 creep. So obviously, yeah, I will have to learn. I think this is the very basic. This is the bare necessities. But like, what I need to do is I need to master at least this in isolation. And then the other things I can practice are during actual matches. But I'm going to start with bot matches. But we're not even there yet. So I need to master this first. Because if I can't master this, I can't expand on it. That's my mindset, by the way. And this is how I like to play games. I like to build a framework. And I like to build like a path of skill development. You know, this is a very high learning curve game. It's probably the highest learning curve. I mean, among MOBA games, it's the highest learning curve. Among the ones that are current meta. There might be a new MOBA game coming out one day that outshines Dota and League. Most likely not. Like right now, either you play Dota or you play League. That's yeah, you got to get the foundation. It's a little boring and repetitive, but it's really important because if I can't master this, everything else is gonna like be falling apart. And I don't think it's going to take too long to master it, or at least get to a level where I can say, okay, let's back off a little bit and actually go through some bot matches. Because then I still need to learn the other stuff. Because I need to learn the level progression for whichever hero I'm playing. I'm main Wind Ranger. I still need to find my alts. You know, I picked out like a list of heroes that I can choose from besides Wind Ranger, and I put them all the female heroes, and because I don't like playing male heroes, or you know, basically like monsters because monsters are basically, they appear non-binary, like they have like a non-binary appearance. Although they tend to look more masculine. But then there's Io, which is completely like genderless look. like it's funny like how that works. Like, you know, either you have human characters that are male or female, or you have like very male-esque like monster creatures. Monster heroes. like creatures. And then you have like genderless creatures, which just don't really have a masculine or feminine look. But then there's also feminine looking creatures, so it's like, but I picked all the more femme. I'm like hyper femme, okay? Like I really like femininity, and I just don't feel comfortable playing non-feminine characters in any video game. I do have to play every single character eventually to learn like their basic playstyle, so that I can play against all of them. It's weird, yeah. Like I know I told you that like I like to think. I don't know if you were here. When I play games, especially games like this that have a high learning curve, I like to pretend like I'm going pro, because having that mindset gives me like a foundation. It gives me like a purpose. Obviously, it's very unlikely I could go pro at Dota. That's not the goal. The goal is not to become a pro Dota player. I mean, who knows? We don't know what the future of streaming looks like and what esports looks like. It might be possible that somebody as old as me could become a pro Dota player. That might be possible. I doubt it. I'm not aiming for it. It could happen. Who knows? Maybe I get so involved with this game and get really good at it and become pro just by virtue of being good. Who knows? I usually play female characters in games as well. Yeah, it doesn't mean you're trans. You might be, but like, and you might be a woman. I don't know. I don't know your pronouns. I don't know your gender identity. I don't know anything about you except for your name. But like, you know, some people will go like this slippery slope argument, like, oh, you know, like egg cracking. Like, no, like I'm not saying that just because you play female characters means you're trans. It's something to think about, though. Like, it might be an egg crack. It's like a little teeny crack. There might be an egg, there might not be, but like, like, you know, the thing is, if you are trans, it's really important that, like, if anybody, not you specifically, but it, you know, if you specifically too, like, if you happen to be trans, it's very important that be explored, because otherwise you're gonna spend a lot of time like not knowing what's going on. But obviously, if you're not trans, you're not trans. Like, that's that's how it works. If I'm gonna spend hours in follow mode, oh, yeah, exactly. Just saying, that's what I used to say. Just saying. I used to say that. Okay, like I'm saying, like, you know, it's not all or nothing. Like, you know, there's multiple reasons why people do things, and it doesn't necessarily mean, you know, only you know you, right? I can't tell you that you're trans or not. Like, it's so frustrating when people are like, oh, that's a sign, you're trans, and then like pressure you. And it's like, well, first of all, if you are trans and someone's pressuring you, that's bad, because then it's like, well, you're not letting this person explore their identity at their own pace. Obviously, if you're not trans, then you're pressuring somebody to be something they're not, which is fucked up too. So just saying. but I'm a little biased because I specifically am trans, so it's like I think of the world differently. So it's like I have a bias, you know, like when I think of things, I view them in the way that a trans person would see them, which in my very specific experience, like I see things like I'm like, oh yeah, that's how I used to be. Let me make things clear though, like I don't want to pressure people to be something they're not. I just want to be like, one of the reasons I talk about my trans identity so much is because there's really not too many people who do. Like there are people who very much do, but like there's a very small amount of us in general. But on the internet as well, it's really hard for us to build up the courage to, you know, like, you know, people say I'm brave, and I don't really think it should be like that, but sadly it is, where just being online in today's internet climate, which is slowly changing, is like extremely difficult. And you have to be able to put up with so much abuse that you have to like you have to pretty much be a masochist. Which, you know, but, you know, there's also, it's not just that, because if it was just that, it would be masochism. It's more like, what's the word? Knowing that you need to endure something for a bigger cause. Like that's something else that's like an extra ingredient that I think is different than masochism. Because if it's masochism, it's just pain. Like that's all it is. But if this were just pain, I would hate it. But I know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. That if more of us stand up and are able to somehow stay strong throughout, you know, not just hate, because hate is only one part of it. Like, it's also like being ignored, which is a problem, and also people not recognizing hate as well. Because it's one thing when hate happens, it's obvious. But when some things happen and it's not obvious to a lot of people that it's hate, and people just let it happen and it keeps happening over and over, that's like the most insidious one, because you can't easily show people that that's happening. Pain for a cause is nobler. Well, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Like, even if I fail, I don't fail because I did something. Like, I showed up when there's not many of us. We're a very small proportion of the population. At the very least 1%. Probably 2 or 3 or 4%, who knows? Because like I said, there might be, I mean, not like I said, but you know, there might be people who are in the closet or who aren't even aware they're trans. But I think everybody should explore their identity, whether they're trans or not. I think more people should look at who they are and what they stand for and what their basic core identities are. Whether that's cisgender or transgender or non-binary, like those are only some of the things that you might find. You might be gender fluid. You might just be straight up cisgender. Like, that's probably the case. Like, that's a very large percentage of the population is just straight up cisgender. Like, and that's okay. Like, we don't need everybody to be trans. Like, there's no agenda. We just want to exist and have support and be able to live in a safe, welcoming environment. Like, that's all there is to it. Like, that's the trans agenda. And that's the gay agenda. Whatever people think otherwise. But out of the closet, mental on mental illness. Okay, I didn't even say that I meant. Yeah, exactly. It took me a very long time to go to therapy. I didn't go to therapy until I started my transition. And also, yeah, it's like I had myself fooled because most of the people in my life were convincing me that I didn't have a problem. I got so much gaslighting. And you know what's sad is because I'm so high functioning on the spectrum that people often don't even believe I'm on the spectrum. That's pretty bad, because it's one thing when you're obviously on the spectrum and people could say, oh, that's because people need, for some reason, they need like some obvious signal that somebody's mentally ill or physically handicapped. Like, yeah, just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. And it's also kind of messed up that somebody who, there's people say, oh, this is what autism is. they don't see a giant spectrum of different people who have different issues, and sometimes there might not even be any issues. Sometimes people have a very like lucky life where it's just like they are on the spectrum, but the world has treated them well and has given them the opportunities and the right set of tools to be able to to be able to maneuver society, which makes you not disabled. But because I was like ignored for so long and actively told that I just need to change my behavior and that there's something wrong with me and that like I'm just being bad and I'm being lazy and it's like, and I need to try harder. Like, yeah, they tell you it's all in your head. I mean, like it's literally mental illness. Like, exactly. Sometimes it's like, I mean, obviously, like sometimes it's really hard to tell because sometimes, you know, it's a mix between internal factors that you might not be able to change that you can kind of develop tools around and fix. Like even it's autism stuff, like I literally can't change that. I can develop tools, like mental tools, and also create mechanisms externally to maneuver society better. But like I literally can't change that part of my brain. But there's also things that are related to that based on how people treated me and trauma involved in that, because there's people who didn't respond well to my specific needs, and sometimes in a very negative way, in an actively negative way. People hurting me, abusing me, and yeah, it's like mental illness in your feet. Yeah, exactly. So it's like there's psychological parts to it too that are external factors that you internalize, and because of my specific autistic traits that I have that maybe other people do, but you know, it's a spectrum of traits, you know, my specific cocktail of autism, so to speak, means that I internalize those external factors in a way that other people wouldn't, because things hit me harder than neurotypical people. Like when because I internalize it and it like keeps attacking me. Because because what my brain does, and this is sometimes really good, is my brain takes information and it keeps infinitely refining it until it gets like better and better and better, and it just looks at it and it analyzes it and it takes new information in and then it reanalyzes the same information. It's really exhausting. Like even for positive things. Like for example, the fact that I'm like super hyper focused on this part, on this game mechanic of creeps and, you know, getting last hit, like that's literally like I'm so hyper focused on this. But I mean, it's a good thing because that's how you get good at the game. Like that's like I can use it to my advantage, but it's still exhausting that my brain works that way. Is what Hollywood yeah, exactly. They see a movie where, you know, this is why representation matters. For the longest time, like trans people, and still today sometimes, like for the longest time, trans people have been represented as like, you know, cross-dresser, sex worker, or completely insane, like in the case of Silence of the Lambs. Like, and I'm not even convinced that Buffalo Bill is trans. Like, I'm not even convinced. But because that's how people see trans people, is they see Buffalo Bill. Like Buffalo Bill, so many different issues, like maybe trans, and you know what's, it's a good argument too, because if Buffalo Bill was trans and had access to affirming and supportive health care and was able to transition, maybe he wouldn't have been a serial killer. I know it's terrible. You should not excuse people for having, you know, psychopathic or sociopathic illnesses, but at the same time, people should not be isolated and judged for having like very specific issues. Like if you're psychopathic or sociopathic, that's something that should be like worked on with professionals in a compassionate way. You should be able to say, oh, you know, there's an issue. It's different than most people. It might cause you problems. I'm here to help. And sometimes people don't want help, and that's kind of an issue. Just saying. I need to check on my food. Sausage and raviolis. So, what I was thinking while I was preparing my food, there was a thought that I had. It was something. What was I thinking? Here's what it is. So I really do think human beings are the only species, maybe not the only species, but like the only species on the planet whose instinct is wrong for the most part. Like, I mean, you know, some of our instinct is really necessary, but like our basic instincts for the society that we've created are wrong, because we get, you know, you get mob mentality. I'm just gonna say right now, there were very bad people participating in that terrorist attack on the Capitol. There were bad people there. There were like Nazis, Proud Boys, whatever. There were literal bad people in there. But like, I feel like there may have been, and most likely, plenty of people participating in that insurrection, that act of terrorism, who were just like, you know, otherwise normal everyday people who just got so riled up and so stuck in that herd mentality, which sucks because they're, you know, they need to face the consequences of their actions. But like, our natural instincts are so terrible sometimes that our, you know, humans are unique in the animal kingdom, is we create things around us that weren't there before. And obviously, you know, other species do this too, like bees, ants, and all the, you know, lots of creatures do that on the planet. That's not unique, but like, we have opposable thumbs, we use tools. We create things that we don't necessarily need to survive, but we do because mental health is part of our, you know, human biology. So in order to survive, we need to create environments that are based off of our individual needs. And so it's interesting that like our human nature sometimes is so terrible that we need to actively fight against our natural urges. Otherwise, you know, and it's terrible because there's some religions that have popped up that use that talking point. They say, oh, well, it's you know, I think we need to reevaluate what is considered morally wrong sometimes. Like, some things, like, you know, for the longest time and still to this day, people consider being gay to be morally wrong. And obviously that's not true, because how could love be wrong? How could being a human being who is able to experience life with compassion and love with another human being, how is that wrong? But for some reason, some people are convinced it is. I don't know, there might be species out there that do kill for pleasure. You know, like cats play with their food. Although I think that might be something that maybe we're only anthropomorphizing that. There might be a survival instinct part of that. Like maybe there's some reason why they do that. Who knows? I'm not a cat expert. I'm not an animal expert by any means. Yeah, exactly. Cutting yourself off from 50% of the species just because of gender is hardly more right. Yeah, exactly. Like, these people are not okay. Like, there's people who are actually, like, gay, who are so convinced that what they are is wrong that they don't explore it. They don't accept it. And that's sadder than anything. Why are you denying yourself true happiness? Like, I mean, I had to come to terms with my gender identity and my sexual identity. Still coming to terms with that. Like, I'm completely pansexual, but I'm hella gay as a woman. Like, I am a woman. I've always been a woman. So I'm hella gay. But, like, I'm also not gay. Like, I'm pan. Like, sometimes I'm into men. Sometimes I'm not into anything. Like... You know, like, you know, being pan is kind of, you know, I'm still trying to figure out what it is. It's not the same as being bi, but being bi is being attracted to all genders. But being pan is like, well, if I'm attracted to somebody, it's not because of their gender. That's what it means. But I tend to be attracted towards women, trans women, like, mostly. Like, okay, I like girls with penises. Okay, like, I'm just gonna say it. I've said it multiple times. I like women with penises. I love penis. Okay, like, but I don't necessarily like guy dick. But that's not to say that I'm attracted to all trans women. And, you know, I am attracted to cisgender women and women with vaginas as well, so it's like... And I can also be attracted to cis and trans men. Mostly, you know, if I'm attracted to a man, ironically, it's a very masculine, like, cisgender man. Like, I'm... like... Which is odd, because my whole life I've been completely opposed to being attracted to men. Hey, thanks for the follow, XQC Best Stream. Oh. Yeah, welcome to my really kind of... I don't even know what kind of stream I have. I play games, mostly chess, but I've been getting into Dota recently. Probably going to be into Dota for a very long time. I want to give it the time it deserves. You need to respect this game. Like, in order to actually play this game, you have to give it the respect of the difficulty. Otherwise, it's just like you're not even playing. I don't know, my personal sexuality obviously is my own. Like, I don't have to share it. I don't have to be upset about it, but I sometimes am, because I'm sometimes kind of confused about my sexuality. And sometimes, you know, I have deeply ingrained homophobia, and I grew up thinking I was male, and so I have lots of homophobic thoughts about men. Even though I'm a woman, sometimes thinking about men makes me feel like I'm gay, but that's actually straight. So it's like I have to reassign like my idea of what gay means, because for being gay is mostly what I am, but towards women. So it's like, that's literally what I am. Mostly gay for women. But people who are transphobic don't accept me as a woman, so when I say gay, they think I'm a man. So it's like, it's frustrating. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is social conditioning. You know, because like I was trained to think a certain way. And you know, obviously, you know, there's transphobic parts of me that clash with my identity and clash with my, you know, because I have a lot of dysphoria. And part of me looks at my features and, you know, like my body in general, and still sees masculine features and doesn't accept that I'm female. There's parts of me that is transphobic against myself. It's internalized because that's the way society like forced me to think. And you know, obviously it takes effort and time, you know, time and effort. Nobody ever says effort and time. Jesus Christ, Rebecca. And you know, to the point of like, obviously, you know, I lived my whole life by a different name and by different pronouns and thinking of myself as a different gender. So it's naturally like understandable why it's so difficult for me to completely own that, like, you know, the part of my identity that's most true to myself. Even though it's that important, sometimes it's still difficult, and it's understandable why. There's so many years of my life, you know, 31 years of my life thinking that I was a different name, you know. And also, you know, it's like I can't blame myself because it's most people are cisgender and don't even think about gender identity, especially when I was growing up. Like, it was not a normal thing to happen. And so but the thing is like those parts of my identity still existed whether or not I saw them or not, and that's the difference. And once I saw them, it was difficult to come to terms with because like the way society, like, you know, has normalized certain things. Nods. Yeah, and you know, a lot of people understand me and agree with me. So it's like the biggest conflict is not that people don't like align themselves with me. I actually don't know where the biggest conflict you know, the biggest conflict is the internal conflict I have, I think. Like sometimes like I'm triggered by certain things because it's like I think those things sometimes. And I'm angry about it, that I even think those things. But it's like I need to forgive myself, you know? I'm a human being, okay? I'm not exempt from certain thoughts, you know? I think it's like what we do with those thoughts is what makes us, you know, different. You know, whether or not you continually and actively engage in negative actions based on those thoughts. That's the difference. It's one thing if you do something once and you're not, oops, I accidentally, and like you don't know what you're doing, but like if people are like constantly telling you that what you're doing is toxic, and not in a way that's like, if people say I'm toxic just for defending myself against transphobic behavior, that's different. Because people will do that. They'll say, oh, you're being toxic. And it's like, how am I being toxic just for defending myself against hateful comments? Like, how is that toxic? Toxic that they're saying that. Like, like that's toxic. And yeah, like sometimes it's a gray area. Like maybe sometimes I have to like kind of check myself. Be like, hey, like, am I responding to the situation correctly? But the difference is I'm actually doing that work. And the people who are the worst offenders don't. That's the difference. And I, you know, as much as I hate like pretending like I'm better than people, because I really am not. At least in some areas, I've gone past my basic instincts and my basic, you know, biases and prejudices. It takes a lot of work and takes a lot of love too, which can be work. Okay. Oh, oops. Okay. I'm literally just doing the same thing over and over. It's gonna be like that for a while on stream for Dota. Like, I apologize if it's not very entertaining, but you know, there's more to my stream than just my gameplay. As people have pointed out before, it's hard for me to accept sometimes, because I'm like, you know what, like, I would like people to enjoy my gameplay as well. Jeez, but that's why I'm practicing. Like, you know, I need to work my way up to that. Like, I need to earn it. I can't just like expect people to like want to watch a noob play the most difficult game when there's people out there who are like hundreds of times better than me. Like, it's more entertaining gameplay. But, you know, we all know that, like, Twitch is not just about gameplay, but I would like there to also be, you know, appreciation of my gameplay. And maybe people do like this. Maybe people will just, like, put this on and be like, wow, this is really relaxing. Like, she's literally just doing the same thing over and over. As I said, playing The Sims, chatting, listening. Yeah, exactly. A lot of people might not even be, like, watching, but they're listening. And so that's why it's important to, at least to me, it's important to engage with people. It's really hard for me to talk unless I'm, like, playing chess or doing something really specific in a video game. It's really difficult for me to keep talking unless it's, like, something that's on my... Like, you know, this is why I generally talk about the same things that bother me. Like transphobia, or just like general corruption in our society. Like these are things that directly affect me, and not just me, but like these are things that directly affect my life. So it's like understandable, I think. Oh no, I need to not do the deny, because the timing works out when there's 2 melees and 1 ranged. I don't know. It depends on the starting health of one of the creeps. No. Well, it's really bad. You know, I'm so bad at this game that like when there's nobody to talk to, it's really hard for me to talk. So it's like I have the same problem I used to have with chess on streaming. So it's like, because this is a new game for me, and chess wasn't new for me, so it was like it's even worse. So it's like this is like basically I'm starting from scratch. So it's like sometimes I just have to focus on just the gameplay, which is really bad for streaming unless it's really interesting gameplay. But this is not very interesting. So it's like this is very repetitive, just drill. Like I'm just drilling last hit. This is training. Very repetitive. So it's like, it's really hard. I got 400. See, I need to be able to at least get 400 points consistently. I mean, need is a relative term. I mean, do I really need to get good at Dota? Probably not, but I do want to. Because I would like to explore this game and see how good I can get. And yeah, you know what's funny is I look at the VODs and like kind of scrub through my VODs a little bit after stream, like the next day or something. Like I always clip my VODs because I like to keep and I download them. Do like a clip a whole bunch on my phone and then do a mass download and then put them on my hard drive. Oops, put them on an external hard drive. Because I already found out that like in case I need to delete all my VODs, most likely won't happen. But at the very least, I have like very short clips of each stream that I can look at later and say, hey, like what was the overall like sweeping like progression of my stream, and I can like look at my progression as a person and as a streamer, and you know like my transition, which is actually really important for me to see. Being able to see, because I'm going through a really fast puberty. It happens over the course of 2 or 3 years, which compared to our first puberty, which can take like 6, 7, or 8 years or longer, like that's really fast. Keep a record. Yeah, exactly. I like to keep records. But I don't save the VODs. I put them up on YouTube. I put the VODs up on YouTube. I've been kind of like lazy about it lately. My YouTube is trash, honestly. I've been really bad with YouTube, but I'm not worried about that right now. That can be something for a later time. But at the very least, I can use it as an archive. I can just like upload my VODs on it. Export VODs. I don't even edit or upload. I just straight up export from Twitch like 24 hours afterwards. And then I can upload them right away and then switch them over to public with like my little like comment with my little description tags, like with Patreon and Twitch channel, Twitter channel, all that good stuff. Make compilation of highlights. Yeah, exactly. Rebecca in review 2020. Rebecca in review. So I do have part of that done. I have like 9 hours. The first 9 hours of a video doing just that from 2019 until from July 2019 when I started streaming, all the way, you know, which was pre-transition, all the way until when I started transitioning, and then when I started hormones, and then it was clips all the way through, and the whole video is 24 hours long. It's insane. And I haven't watched all of it, but I've watched most of it. Like I think I've watched like the first like 17 hours of it, but I haven't watched it in a while. But like I need to split it into 3 different videos because it just won't let me upload that long of a video. Actually, no, it's not that. It's just that I can't encode that long of a video. I can't encode a 24-hour video. Actually, no, I think it actually did cut off at 12 hours, but something like that. I don't know. I couldn't encode longer than a certain amount of hours. So I'm gonna split it between like 3 videos. And I haven't done the second and third one yet. I've been lazy, but I do have the first 9 hours uploaded. And it kind of like halfway through, it goes back to the beginning again, because the way that Twitch names your clips is different. Encoding takes forever. Yeah, exactly. And this was like 24 hours of encoding. It's like, that's a lot. Even at like the lowest quality settings, that's still a lot. But yeah, like seeing, you know, for me and for a lot of trans people, like honestly, for people who are just starting their transition, trying to get on hormones, seeing somebody else go from, you know, pre-hormones to like a year on hormones to like 2 years on hormones, it's probably like the biggest like the most like life-saving thing you can watch when you're just waiting on getting approved for hormones. Which can take a long time for some people. For me, it didn't take that long because I had a lot of things, you know, I have a very like very helpful clinic, and also like because they already had a history of me talking about my gender. So it's like it was over the past 14 years I've talked about it and I never did anything about it. And so when I was ready to do it, they were like really expediting it, I feel, because they knew my history. You did YouTube once, editing, rendering, uploading for long. Hard to keep my mind focused. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you have to do it in chunks. It's just like anything. Like, just like Dota, even. Like what I'm doing right now. Like, yeah, like, I did a 6-hour stream to kick it off, and I'm kind of hitting a point where I think I might end the stream pretty soon. Because I think there's a point where it's just like you kind of go brain dead and you're not really making much progress anyway. But I think I'm doing a lot better than when I started. Like I'm starting to get the rhythm down. There's a lot more to learn. But yeah, that was perfect. Like that was perfect. Let's end on that, okay? Yeah, thanks for stopping by. I really enjoy my streams. I also really enjoy talking to people. I really enjoy feeling connected and talking about things that matter to me and might matter to other people. And I also just enjoy, you know, just having someone to talk to can be really helpful for mental health. It's one of the reasons why I think that so many people are drawn to Twitch. Because it's not like YouTube, where YouTube it's like, okay, well, there's a person making a video and maybe I can connect to the comment section, but the comment section can be really toxic. So it's like there's kind of a big divide between creator and viewer. And you know, at the very least there's a time barrier where you can't interact live. But when there's like live content, you can literally like connect with the streamer. Depending on the streamer. Like some streamers don't connect with their audience that way. Some people focus like a lot on that. So it's like, you know, I'm not super hyper focused on my YouTube content right now. I know I should be if I was really focused on growing, but it's just not something I can handle right now. I'm not very skilled at video making. I'm not very skilled at video editing, but what I can do is I can stream. You know, I can do chess, I can play a game, I can talk to people, that's the slowest way to grow, but it's what I can handle, you know. And I can go on Twitter and try to connect with people. Right now, I'm trying to connect with a lot of trans people on trans Twitter, and that's difficult. I also have to unfollow a ton of people on Twitter because I reached the max. I didn't realize you could have a max number of followers. I was following so many people. I followed 5,000 people, and because I don't have enough followers. If I had more followers, they can start allowing more follows. But like, I stopped mass following people. Like, apparently that's really frowned upon. I didn't realize. So I stopped. But I'm unfollowing a whole bunch of people who like either post things that I'm opposed to, like completely, like transphobic people, you know, Trump supporters. Like, sometimes that happens where I mass follow people, and some people fell through the cracks. I try to look at who I'm following, but. Yeah, Twitter can be toxic for sure, but it's, you know, it's like, I don't want to put my head in the sand, because that's literally society. Twitter is part of society, whether people accept it or not. Like, I want to be a part of the world, part of this world, like Ariel from Little Mermaid. You know, I want to be part of the world. I don't want to just hide and just live my life and just ignore all the hate. Like, you know, you have to be, like I said, it would be one thing if there was just pain. It would be masochistic, and to an extent it kind of is, but at the same time there's a light at the end of the tunnel, that if we keep showing up and fighting, eventually people realize that, like, hey, there's like a problem here. Like, it's not just random people who are angry. Like, there's a very specific anger that's based on a very specific behavior that people are refusing to change. And I think that, like, that's the biggest reason why, you know, some of us are strong enough. Hopefully I can be strong enough. I honestly, like, time is the biggest test. Because it's one thing to be strong for like a day, but if I can't be strong like a year from now or 2 years from now, obviously I can reassess, you know, the way I interact with people online. I don't have to interact the way that I do sometimes. I can always be in charge of that. And, you know, I can be in control of who I talk to and who I respond to and what I do. That's always the case. But, like, I really do think I can't just put my head in the sand. I want to see real change in society, and I want to learn other people's perspectives. And as shitty as that can be sometimes because of toxic behavior, that's part of the deal. Like, you have to take it, like, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And hopefully we can minimize the bad and the ugly. Like, hopefully we can do a lot of work to minimize that. But I can't do that if I don't participate. So that's the price. That's the price of admission, is in order to make change in the world, in order to have, you know, relevance in society, I need to put myself into that fray. And it sucks because sometimes it's just really painful. And sometimes it's like sometimes nothing good comes from it. Sometimes it's just pain. But I think in the long run, like, I want to make positive change in the world, and I might not be able to do it on my own. Obviously, I can't do it on my own. But I'm never gonna do it if I don't even try. Just like with Dota, like, if I don't practice this last hit trainer, you know, I'm not gonna be good at the game. Like, that's just it's not possible. That's a foundation, you know. Anyway, I think I've had enough for the night, and I'm gonna head out. Thank you so much for stopping by, Prepper Parman. It feels really nice to be connected to somebody, and to know that somebody cares. And, you know, like, sometimes I don't believe that. Sometimes I don't believe that anybody could care about me, and it really, sometimes, I know sometimes it can be toxic, but it's worth it. Knowing that, like, I can completely change my outlook just because I'm one person. Like, one person being here talking to me, it changed my day. It changed my mood. It changed my outlook. I can be like, okay, well, somebody was there. Somebody was affected. Somebody's day changed because I existed. And, you know, you can say the same thing for yourself too. So be proud of it. Be proud of the fact that, like, you matter and I matter. Everybody matters. But, like, we have a very real impact on the world. We can make positive change, or it can make negative change, but also sometimes we make negative change without intending it. And that, you know, obviously we need to make steps to try to deal with that. But I really think we should stop beating ourselves up over that. If you know, if you try to do good in the world, I think you should give yourself a break. Okay. Bye.